Prince Harry wants to be deported. He is asking for Donald Trump to kick him out of the USA. He wants to find an excuse not to have to live with Meghan Markle as a prisoner, as the spare yet again. Some people might say that this sounds dramatic, but genuinely not, because this delusional man is now facing deportation from the USA again because he cannot help himself when it comes to criticism of Donald Trump. And Niall Gardner of the Heritage Foundation is not letting go of this, writing Prince Harry will be held to account over his US immigration application. If he lied over his illegal drug use, he will face deportation from the United States. And my sources are now saying that part of the reason for Prince Harry's planned attack on Donald Trump is because he is looking now to go to war with the Trump administration. Let me bring in Lauren, the insider now. Lauren, what do you make of it?
If you look at Harry's track record, he has gone out of his way to make enemies. He's gone out of his way to rile President Trump. He has been incredibly disrespectful. And he has also been pushing a political agenda. All of a sudden, he's an expert on censorship, this, that. Shut up, Harry. No one cares. And it does look like he is actively trying to get deported, because we saw him go onto the Stephen Colbert show last year and say that Donald Trump was like a dictator. And now, over the comments that Donald Trump made, Prince Harry came out and released a statement. You know, you can not agree with the comments from Donald Trump, and you can think that they came across badly. However, it is not your place to speak before the monarch. You might not be a working royal anymore, but you're still on the royal website. And so behaving like a child and lashing out is absolutely crazy. And if he has lied, he will get deported.
And the thing is, Lauren, he was absolutely desperate to do this, though. He didn't even wait because, of course, we know that Keir Starmer and King Charles himself, which lots of people think was a big mistake anyway, were dealing with the back channels here. And that, in the end, resulted in the total withdrawal of the comments from Donald Trump, which, by the way, were never actually about British troops in the first place.
Yeah, but by that point as well, Harry's released a statement, then Meghan Markle's involving herself using her Instagram that no one can comment on, and she's probably bought most of her followers anyway. You know, it just all blew up because Harry is going out of his way to cause problems yet again. He is a danger to the royal family.
He is, because the point is, Lauren, he doesn't care anymore.
No.
He doesn't care if he's kicked out anymore. That is the most shocking thing. He is looking for an excuse to have to say to Meghan Markle, oh God, I'm going to have to do the half and half out. Maybe I'll just pop back for a holiday. It's absolutely shocking because for some time, Lauren, he did go down this path of not really challenging the Trump administration in public. It was a real marked change what happened at the weekend. It was like we were back to 2020 when they were cocky and Joe Biden was in the White House and they wanted to keep interfering in politics. So trust me, this is a deliberate turn, and Meghan might repost the statement on her Instagram with a whole load of pictures and make it look as if she's supporting Harry. But I don't think even she realizes that there is now this very clear plot from Prince Harry's friends to find a way for him to come back to the United Kingdom. And it would be the perfect excuse for him, wouldn't it? Oh, Donald Trump is just making my life so difficult. So, you know, I'm not going to be a permanent resident in the United States. I'm going to split my time between both locations.
Well, look, Harry always wants the best of both worlds. He always wants to be half in, half out without actually putting the work in. So we will be in a position where we end up paying for his security. He will pop back. We'll be paying for all of this, I assume. And then he'll go back to America. And, you know, he's trying to rinse every single part of the lemon as he can. And so in his mind, he's probably like, well, who cares if I get deported? Because Papa will pull a few strings, and the hardworking public, they can pay my security bill, and I'll be back in the UK.
Indeed, and some fascinating reporting on this too, which does really back up, I think, where I'm at. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Donald Trump onslaught hugely revealing. This from Jack Royston, the royal editor of Newsweek, who reports Prince Harry and Meghan launched their boldest challenge to Donald Trump since a lawsuit over Harry's visa led to warnings the president might try to kick Harry out of America. The move appears to reveal a newly confident Harry, willing to take on the US president despite his precarious status in America, where he has been under pressure over his visa in recent years. Now, I actually agree with Jack Royston's reporting there, but the question is why? Why is he newly confident? Because nothing has changed with the Heritage Foundation. Nothing has changed with the risk of taking on Donald Trump. So Jack Royston goes on, the fact that Harry is now confident enough to take on Trump so openly and directly may raise our eyebrows against the backdrop of ongoing rumours that Harry and Meghan may want to spend more time in Britain if they get police protection. Last week, Niall Garner, director of the Heritage Foundation's Margaret Thatcher Centre for Freedom, renewed calls to publish Harry's papers in a post on X. So could President Trump intervene and order the release of Prince Harry's immigration records? Definitely yes. This remains a strong possibility, he said. And that is the fundamental point, Lauren. Everyone, I think, apart from Meghan Markle, can see that Harry is trying to engineer a way out.
And he's also so arrogant and entitled. Let's go back to, they wanted privacy. They wanted a life of service. It's absolute rubbish. The way he is behaving, I really hoped that 2026 would be different. Naively, yes, but it's worse. That he's actually more insufferable than ever. And he's going out of his way now to get thrown out of that country. So he has to come back here. This is a real problem for Prince William, and it is going to cause him no end of anxiety and headaches. This is not what Prince William needs when he is literally trying to hold the monarchy up with Catherine, Princess of Wales, more or less just the two of them.
Now, Lauren, this was also the week where Page 6, which had just launched its big Californian edition, decided to do an expose on Prince Harry's life in Montecito and revealed what people like me have been reporting for some time is true. He is a kept man who rarely leaves the house, and it is a miserable existence. Now, this has been deeply reported by Sarah Nathan, who is the editor-at-large at the New York Post and does have many links to Team Meghan.
Dan is joined by Lauren, the insider, to unpack claims circulating online about Prince Harry's future in the United States and why some reports suggest he may now be considering leaving the country altogether. Amid mounting legal pressure, visa scrutiny, and relentless media attention, questions are being raised about whether life in America has become more burden than opportunity. In this segment, we break down what's actually being reported, what's speculation, and why this narrative has suddenly gained traction. Is this about legal realities, personal choice, or a strategic reset as pressure continues to build on multiple fronts? Join the channel for fearless royal analysis, like the video, and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss the next development. Comment below. Do you think Prince Harry's time in the U.S. is coming to an end, or is this just another media storm?
She reports in some ways the prince is a glorified house husband while Markle brings home the artisanal bacon, though even that is not going as planned. Off the news that her Netflix lifestyle show has ended. The Post is told the Sussex coffers are rapidly depleting. One source in the know says that's why they've had to downsize their staffing. But I think it's the colour and the detail about Harry's life that is most damning. The source saying Harry's not really doing anything in America. It seems he is still very wrapped up in the past. Now, that's Meghan's friends who think that. They say there have been rumours that Harry is starting a business, but he and Meghan don't have the best track record. He's really great at service. Look at the success of the Invictus charity. He really should just stick with that. But I think even that argument falls down, by the way, because how can you say Harry is good at service anymore? The only example they use is Invictus. What they do not talk about is Centre Bali, is African Parks, is the Parents Network. So I just don't believe anymore that we can continue this actual lie that Harry is good at charity. He's not. He's really bad at it. And Archewell has collapsed because he is really bad at it. So then the source goes on to say, I think Harry's banking on speaking engagements for income right now. And I will show you in just one moment, a new speaking gig has been confirmed, which is mortifying for him. They then talk about, you know, the fact that Meghan is friends with Oprah still and some other people, whereas Harry really only has Nacho Figueras. All of his other friends are simply friends of Meghan. He has lost touch with his UK pals, and the source in the know said, I don't think they leave the house much. Meghan does maybe, but not so much Harry. And a local resident, Gail Pollard, did go on the record to say Harry probably came here with a lot of gusto, but a lot of it fell flat. I'd like to see him go back to England. That was the feeling in our small community. I don't care for either of them. They're not sincere. They're doing everything for fame and fortune. So, Lauren, an absolute damning picture of Harry's new life 5 years after Megxit. No wonder he wants to come back at any cost.
Absolutely. And Sarah Nathan has been a prominent journalist in the UK and the US for some time. So I would pay
She's broken
close
a lot of
attention.
stories on the Sussexes.
Yeah, I would pay close attention to this article. To me, this reads absolutely bang on. And this is the thing. Harry has lost everything. On the surface, it's glossy and they're on red carpets. But actually, when we look at the life that they've created, we've all gone through it and we know that it's absolute bollocks because it's built on sand. It is PR stories that are spun out left, right, and centre. And actually, there are no solid foundations to anything they are actually putting in the public domain. We've seen countless red carpet events where they have actually genuinely not even wanted to hold hands. You can see the disgust in Harry's face. So it really doesn't surprise me that he barely leaves the house and, you know, it's not panned out, because when you're married to Meghan Markle, would you want to go out with her? Her social circle is all about, you know, who someone is, how they can advance her billionaire dream. And how depressing to live like that. How much money does this woman need?
Well, as Nancy Sidley said about the new Prince Harry appearance, this is so humiliating and I'm here for it. So look at this, Lauren. I know you've been looking into this too. The IAPP Global Summit, Privacy, AI Governance, Cybersecurity Law. It's in Washington, D.C. from the 30th of March to the 2nd of April. And Harry is a keynote speaker to discuss the landscape of today's digital world and how we can reshape the future. I mean, I don't know who I'm more embarrassed for, Lauren. This summit itself, who has literally hired a thicko who knows nothing about this, because presumably they want to hawk a few tickets, or Harry, who is going to repeat the same old speech to pocket what? He'd be lucky, Lauren, I reckon, you know, maybe $250,000 for this, but this is what his life has come to.
I mean, when I saw this on social media, I thought it was a joke. Dan, I had to check 3 times that this was real, because I thought I thought they couldn't be worse. They couldn't do a worse talk than the Hilton last year. But this is unbelievable. He probably can't even spell cybersecurity and knows nothing about the landscape, does he really? Come on. He's not the brightest one in the box. And this just makes a mockery of public speaking, because there are many people that are qualified to speak on these areas and actually should be speaking on these areas. It just makes an absolute joke of his speaking agency. And it gets to the point where you think, is he being set up for a humiliation ritual? Because he's not writing this speech. He is pushing an agenda that he probably knows nothing about. And he will get up there and speak to a room full of influential cybersecurity experts on his opinions. I mean, I've seen it all now, Dan.
Yeah, his opinions, which, by the way, are completely designed, can we never forget, to shut down freedom of speech. That's what this is all about. The idea that he gives a damn about protecting children. If he gave a damn about protecting children, Lauren, he wouldn't have just washed his hands of the Parents Network. So all of this is very, very obviously about censorship. Lauren, he has already tried to censor the British press. We know the court case against the Daily Mail remains ongoing even now, and it's going to remain ongoing for a number of weeks, even though Harry isn't going to be in court.